All right, folks, you've heard that music. You know what it means. It is time for TV Talk, brought to you by the Ayn Rand Center UK, where we talk about critically acclaimed and or popular TV shows from an objectivist point of view. And occasionally, we sneak in little comparisons to Atlas Shrugged when and where it's appropriate, sometimes when it's inappropriate, but that's just the way we roll. I have the usual suspects with me today as my co-hosts, Jacqueline Schumann and Jennifer Bouani. You guys want to say hello? Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
What? We're doing very well. Well, I won't speak for Jennifer, but I'm doing well. I'm happy to be back doing TV Talk. It's been, we missed everybody. We've had a bit of a hiatus, so now we're ready to get back into it.
Yes. I'm excited to talk about Outer Range.
Yeah, right. What a show to come back to. Outer Range, which is sort of a combination of genres. It's a Western combined with a sci-fi genre. And it takes some of the typical Western plot lines of, warring families, feuding families and ranching type folks, and throws a sci-fi twist into it all that just, I don't know, puts your head on a swivel and makes it spin. Because you really don't know what the heck is going on. Sort of like Lost and the Island. There's a phenomenon on the western pasture of our heroes, our heroes' ranch that contains a mystery that starts unraveling all kinds of interesting phenomenon in this little Wyoming, this little spot in Wyoming. This TV show stars Josh Brolin as Royal Abbott. This is the Abbott family versus what is the other one? The Tillersons or something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's sort of the feuding rancher family. Imogen Poots, I may be mispronouncing that name, is the enigmatic character Autumn, who you're going to get a spoiler alert with respect to what she is, but she starts off as a very enigmatic character, quite mysterious. Lily Taylor is Cecilia Abbott, wife to Royal Abbott, and of course Tom Pelfrey from Ozark fame plays Perry Abbott. There's Deputy Sheriff Joy, played by Tamara Podemski, and Lewis Pullman plays Red Abbott. Those are sort of the main folks. The Abbotts are the heroes of the story. The Tillersons are the antagonists of the story. And in that backdrop, we have this sci-fi phenomenon going on. So let's talk about it. What did you guys think of this weird, interesting, not entirely awful story? It was sort of interesting. It kept my interest. I want to see a season 2. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I'm the same boat. I thought it was interesting and fresh. It was kind of a Yellowstone meets Twin Peaks or Lost, like you said. So something unique. The mystery definitely is compelling and drives you through the big hole in the pasture and what does it mean. I love the cast of characters. I think they were unique and fresh. Not quite sure what the themes are yet, but maybe that is tied into the reveals of the mystery, and I guess why I want to see season 2 so badly. So what about you, Jax?
I really liked it. I came to this show knowing absolutely zero about it, except that Josh Brolin starred in it. And it's kind of, he's one of those actors, if Mark is starring in something, I don't even know what it is, I'll watch it. Right. Because I think Josh Brolin is a really good and unique actor. And I was kind of like hooked from the get-go. You're right. It does move a little bit slower than, another show like Lost would, but I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that they gave these characters really interesting traits and, just funky I think my favorite freakiest character is the Tillerson boy who sings all the time in his underwear. and he sings beautifully too, right? He sings, he reminds me actually, Jennifer, of the character that we created in Sandbox, Kadra's boyfriend who brings her to the sandbox and sings, and he sings like a Willy Wonka. Yeah. And we got into a big screenwriting debate over that. Like, he wouldn't sing this. And she's like, yes, he would. And I kept thinking of that character when I was watching this guy singing. I loved all these characters. I thought Lily Taylor was like a force to be reckoned with in this show. What did you guys think?
She's always very good. I mean, if you guys don't know who she is, you've probably seen her in The Conjuring. I believe she's in that series, isn't she? She plays the mom in the first Conjuring.
I think she was also in 6 Feet Under too.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think you're right. She's always been a very good actress. We should probably talk about the plot a little bit here, and because it's a very complicated plot with lots of little storylines going on. And so you'll have to, stop me if I miss any details, because I'm sure I'm going to miss a ton, because there are just so many plot twists and strange things going on. Sort of the main problem that is to be resolved is a land dispute between the Tillersons and the Abbotts, right? The Tillersons are claiming to own 600 acres of the western pasture of the Abbott family, which is this ranch, and that land has been in the family for over 100 years. But Josh Brolin's character, Royal Abbott, has just discovered this strange hole in the western pasture. He doesn't quite know what it is, or at least at the very beginning, you don't think he knows what it is. In the meantime, this interesting young lady, Autumn River, happens onto the property and has to camp out in the west, in whatever available land they have, and they let her camp out, ironically, in the western pasture. She seems to be sort of a prophetess at times, and definitely seems to have a very clear idea of some mystery that she's got a grasp on, that she wants to realize, that she has some awareness of something that's going to happen in future times, and she wants to seize this moment and the power apparently that it implies. But we don't know what any of that is. She just comes off as sort of a prophetess at first. There's Perry Abbott's wife has been missing for a number of months. He's left to raise his preteen child with her. Meanwhile, Rhett Abbott is attempting to get his rodeo career off the deck, while courting the woman he's always loved since high school. And then there's an unfortunate incident that unfolds where one of the Tillerson brothers says something unfortunate to one of the Abbott brothers. They get in a fight, and the Tillerson is killed. And then the whole Abbott family is brought in to try to hide the murder, to protect the brother from I guess, getting arrested, prosecuted. And then that becomes not only a mystery for the sheriff to solve, but hot pursuit of the Abbotts as they try to avoid the law and figure out what this mystery is, which Royal Abbott is keeping under close to his vest. What do you guys think of that sort of summary? I'm leaving out tons of stuff, but that's sort of the basic strokes, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, I think so. And I think that the feud between the Tillersons and the Abbotts is definitely a very important part of this, because what's his name, Tillerson, let's see, I just had the cast up, who played by Wayne Tillerson, played by Will Patton so well. There's this scene, remember, when he comes back after did you talk about I'm calling it the infinity hole. Because out in the West pasture, Josh Brolin, Royal Abbott, when he's trying to dispose of the body, he has come across this mysterious, perfectly circular, ginormous hole in the ground that when you put your hand in it, he starts to have memories of the past, and he throws stuff in it. It never comes back out.
Future. He doesn't have memories of the past. He sees the future, at least from what
he sees the future, but that's right, because they flash back to his past when he's telling the story. So it's a time travel hole, basically, and he ends up throwing the body, throwing the Tillerson body into that. But we learn gradually that Will Patton, the reason why Will Patton is trying to get the West pasture land is because he's aware of something. He's aware that there's some kind of mineral, because he has this rock that, like, with black stuff that moves in it. I don't know, it's almost like from the what is it when it's from like the Neanderthal time and it's like stuck in time? You know what I mean?
There's a stone that's covered in amber that,
Yeah.
that he recognizes as something valuable, and he wants it. So he's looking to exploit it for his own purposes. There's Autumn River has her own narrative going that is revealing itself over time. We don't understand, but also Royal Abbott has a very interesting reveal at the very end of season 1 that sort of also throws a monkey wrench in all of our preconceived conclusions about his behavior, does it not?
Because I wondered throughout the episodes, why is he's so close with his wife? Why would he keep this from his wife? And then when he has this, I guess we can talk about the reveal since spoilers abound. Spoiler alert. So his reveal at the end, and he tells Perry, his son, and he's never told anybody else before, but his reveal is that the story of how Royal came to the ranch was a bit in mystery. How he came to the Abbotts, he showed up there basically as a 9 or 10-year-old boy, and Lily Taylor and he, got along, were basically raised together, and then ended up falling in love. And the story of how he gets there is interesting because it's a great reveal, because he's talking about it to his son, and he's saying, well, the reason why I ran away from home was I was out hunting with my dad, and I accidentally shot him and killed him, and I couldn't handle it. And they flash back, right? And they flash back to, if you're paying attention, to a period where it's like, well, that doesn't look like from the time that he would have been at that age, because he runs and he sees his mother, in like old Western wear, like washing outside. And he then reveals to Perry that it was in 1890 something. And he jumped into this hole and came out basically in contemporary time.
In the 60s.
One didn't think he jumped in there with the intention of coming out in some other time. He thought he was committing suicide, right? He wanted to disappear. That's all he wanted to do, because he'd accidentally shot his father.
Did you get the impression that his pain created the hole?
I did.
Yeah,
yes,
I did too. So I was like, oh, okay, so the pain, the hole is a source of his pain, and it's also a symbol of time, as if time makes us,
because the hole didn't exist until the boy showed up there. The hole was created when 9-year-old Royal was running and in so much pain over the guilt, and then you see the hole being created.
Or was it a guilt hole, a pain hole, or a guilt hole?
I don't know how many times we can say hole.
We can keep on saying it.
Pain hole or a guilt hole. Okay, I guess that theory is as good as any other. It's strange. I want to say, why? How could someone?
Does that make him some sort of like? Is there something inherent in him? Is he some kind of supernatural thing? Can anybody create something like this, or is it just embedded in Royal?
I think he's like, his name is Royal, and then you saw it emphasized in the skating rink when he was about to be killed by the Tillerson guy. I think he's a king. His initials Ra, and we're talking about the Kronos mythology, who did kill his father. No, he didn't. He didn't kill his father. He separated. He chopped off something and separated his father from his mother. So I don't know if there's like something mythology related going on here, but I do think
good. I didn't even like catch on to that. That's really good.
There is a narrative about Kronos using his sickle to cut
the
whole universe.
And Kronos is time, right?
Kronos is a god. I think he's one of the primordial gods, is with Gaia. Is that who it is?
Now I have to
Gaia
look.
was the mother.
I believe Kronos was Zeus's father.
Yes.
Zeus ended up dethroning him and putting him in their version of hell, imprisoning him in there. And that's sort of, I thought at first that wasn't just a portal of time, but like a port to what is the Greek version of hell? Tartarus or Tartarus?
I thought it was Hades. I thought it was Hades.
No, but where the gods and the titans are held prisoner, so they won't get out.
Oh, Tartarus.
Tartarus. That's what I thought. That was a portal to there.
So he's okay. So Kronos was the leader and youngest of the first generation of Titans, which is funny because who does Josh Brolin play in The Avengers? A Titan. The divine descendants of primordial Gaia and Uranus. Speaking of holes, he was a descendant of Gaia and Uranus.
I don't take responsibility for that.
What'd you say, Mark?
I don't take responsibility for that.
No, I'm not. Huh?
You're saying my anus.
I'm Uranus. You are ANUS. Not yours, Mark. This show is degrading.
Oh.
We're degenerating.
We can get
great again.
Okay. He overthrew his father and ruled during the mythological golden age until he was overthrown by his own son Zeus and imprisoned in Tartarus. According to Plato, however, the deities Orcus, Cronus, and Rhea were the eldest children of Oceanus. Okay, anyhow, all right, that's Cronus.
Right, because he's Plato. But I don't think we're going to get to the bottom of this at all. I don't think we're intended to the bottom of it in the first season. Unfortunately, because this crazy mystery is sort of what's attracting me to it, and I hope it doesn't pull a Lost.
Yeah.
The ending of Lost. I mean, you build up a mystery so big and so mythological that you expect some grand
logical answer in the end, and not just a bunch of rules that don't meet up later. I'm really like I know you guys like the ending, but that one threw me off because how does Autumn live in the same world as her younger self walking around? How does it? Why is that okay?
Yes, I thought the very same thing. I didn't think two of the same things, two of the same couldn't be in the same place at the same time in the same respect. It definitely throws off your notions of the law of identity for sure. So I'd like to know how they explain that, because it is a rule, isn't it, of literature that the past, you can't really be in the same place at the same time. You can't run into each other. Something happens.
But then on the other hand, we're talking about fiction. And when, I remember when Twilight came out, the big thing was like, wait a minute, a vampire walking around during the day? That can't happen. And it's like, dude, it's fiction. Let's just make up the rules and follow the rules for this particular
but
mythology.
A lot of rules. And I'm just saying they better bring it all back around and tie it together.
Yeah.
So the stuff in the ground that gives people special powers to see just randomly to some event, why that particular jump in time? It's all over the place.
Are they always seeing in the future?
20 minutes into the future, and sometimes it's 2 years into the future. Which is it?
Yeah, it's future. It seems like every vision someone has is in the future, which may be why Autumn knows she knows what's going to happen. She says, before they ambush her father, who I guess she must know that they're related, even though he doesn't. She tries to murder him, and she knows how it's going to end up because she's seen it. She's seen it all. I don't know, man.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you get this once you kind of have the reveal of who Autumn really is. Because I was thinking that there was some kind of sexual tension between her and Perry.
Oh yeah, in the beginning.
Then,
what?
And then when I watched it again, knowing who Autumn was, I was like, this is a little cringy.
Can we talk about Autumn and Billy kissing? The way that
oh my God.
Destructive of your senses. It's disturbing. A very interesting choice. I don't know if that was written in the script. I'd love to
It
find
had
out.
to be. Not written in the script, but I mean, it had to be completely on purpose to just absolutely repel. There, I mean, nobody could be like appealed by this.
It's on purpose for sure, but I don't know whether the actor made a choice to do it that way, because that's possible as well. I mean, she's creative, and that's a very interesting. It's a very interesting way to do that. It's gross because they always close in on a line of saliva connecting the two. Right in on that, and it's more than I can handle, and I consider myself a sensual being. So look, I mean, I don't.
It was just
It kind of changes the tone of the story too. It makes it comedy a little bit. So I think it is important. I don't think that the director just let the actor just put it in there.
No, but it could be an element that the actor creates that adds a dimension to the character that the writers didn't think about. That is possible, writers.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So look, I don't know what to say about this damn thing. I'll tell you what, none of the mysteries leave me curious to see what happens in episode 2, but not overwhelmed. I mean, it's so out there. I don't know. Is it because it's out there that I'm not interested? I'm not sure exactly why.
What do you mean by out there? Like it's like beyond.
It's just. I mean, yeah, it's not a rational universe that we're living in this place. This place isn't governed by natural law, by something else that's going on. I just don't know if I like the characters enough to figure out what the hell's going on, because to some degree they're all fairly distasteful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, like what's Josh Brolin's or Royal's save the cat moment? Is it letting Autumn stay on the land? Is it getting rid of a body for his son? He doesn't strike me as a terribly sympathetic or empathetic character.
No, closed like a fist. He's just a closed who keeps, he's remote from his wife and from his kids, and it's obvious that's the way he's been through their entire relationship. I mean, Lily Taylor's character is sort of likable. She's
good. Amy, the granddaughter, is a good character.
Good character, but Cecilia Abbott, she tries to be moral. She goes to church. She's having problems with, the kinds of secrets she's having to keep, that Abbott seems perfectly keeping.
What did you make of Cecilia burying the bear? I couldn't figure out what that was all about.
I don't know. Look, I don't know why she brought the dead cub into the shack and made it bite her hand. It was that a sort of religious penance to pay for the sins that she was committing. She had to make herself feel pain. I mean, I feel like she felt terrible that she killed the mother bear, and so she was, respecting it by giving it a burial. It was a very different.
But she killed the cub first, right?
How? I don't
know. Or maybe the cub just showed up.
The
dead.
cub is dead. And she drags it away. I think she intends to bury it, and then she decides to put it into this isolated cabin somewhere on their property and sit there and spend time with it. And then she forces it to bite her. She pushes her hand in between its jaws like a hole punch, and then presses the jaws and then pierces her hand. I don't know why that happened. Is there anybody watching this today who knows why that happened? And if you do know why that happened, please super chat us or say something.
There's definitely some kind of commentary about man versus animal, in this story. And I don't know, I can't quite figure out what it is, because you've got, the rodeo dude who's trying to control the bull. And then you've got these animals that keep showing up, like the woolly
bison.
The bison thing. Yeah.
With the arrows.
You've got the bear burial. You've got the sheriff who finds, an earlier version of her tribe with the running animals. But I'm not sure. I can't quite figure out what it's trying to say. Is it a commentary on modernization? Is it, you
I
know,
don't.
versus nature? I don't know.
Well, I know. I just
Okay,
think
so
that's colliding with the present.
a,
I,
a
I
quick a quick thing on Reddit about the bear, that Cecilia was going through a crisis, because remember, she was going through a crisis of faith over her son being a murderer and her family covering up the murder. During the Bible, there was a Bible study that and I didn't remember what they were reading in the Bible, but during the Bible study, they tell a story about how children are mauled by bears for spiting Elisha.
oh yeah, that's
uh,
right.
And Cecilia is so distraught and lost that she mauls herself with the bear cub's teeth to punish herself in a way she thinks is pleasing to God in order to atone for her sins.
Right. It was an act of atonement.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that this story was related to the Bible study narrative.
And that's an interesting factor too, is her faith, her and Royal's faith, right? He doesn't believe in, he doesn't seem to believe in God. He's very angry at God. He's one of those people who's super angry because if God exists, how could he allow me to shoot my own father, kind of thing. But yeah, Cecilia's faith is pretty interesting. And it actually, me being not a religious person, but having not a religious person currently, but having been a religious person, I really sympathized for her crisis of faith. That's a very, very difficult thing to go through when you really start to question, oh my God, have I been wrong all this time? But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I think that the animals, just like Jennifer was saying, are very interesting. I think it's like the Tillersons and the Abbotts. You see the boys always on ATVs. They're never on horses. All the Abbotts are always on horses.
Yes.
They definitely are trying to make a connection between people of the earth who are close to the earth and
right,
sort of in the ecosystem with the animals and those who aren't. The mechanistic, money-driven, greedy, Tillerson clan, right? I mean, Billy's the outlier. He's the guy who doesn't fit, and he becomes a disciple of Autumn's, of course, a diehard disciple of Autumn's. But he's not built like Luke and Wayne. Luke and Wayne are graspers. They want money, and that's what drives them entirely. And I'm sort of narrative, man.
You're sort of what?
I'm bored with that narrative. The grass greedy guy wants money. Come on, man.
There also seemed to be something when, the choices that Royal was making with the whole, slowly but surely, one by one, his family started to disappear as a result. And there was this moment when Cecilia, they're standing at the dinner table and everybody's gone. Because, you open up the beginning of the season, they're all sitting around the dinner table eating, and one by one, the son, one son gets thrown in the hole, and then the other sons get thinking about leaving town after the rodeo, and then the granddaughter goes missing. And one by one, because of all of these events, he's lost the family that he created as this new boy that showed up in the 60s. I think there's something there. I don't know what it is yet, but I think there's something to that compared to her faith, where I think from a faith that you believe that you, that we have pain for a reason, for God's reason, right?
Yeah, God puts us through stuff to test us.
And then you end up with this wonderful family, right? So don't regret it. Don't regret that pain, because you'll lose it. That, I don't know. I kind of was picking up on that message, but I don't know if I was just making that up in my head or if you guys picked up on that at all.
I don't know if there's a message yet. It's just an interesting sort of story that has lots of crazy twists and turns. It's a mystery that we're going to have to wait till the end of the damn thing to get to the bottom of, if we ever do the bottom of it.
Yeah.
What did you guys make of when he flash forwarded to where the land had been converted into mining? It looks like it was oil mining or some kind of mining, and Autumn is there dressed in the yellow. There's like the yellow jumpsuits and then red jumpsuits, and And then Lily Taylor tells Royal, you died 2 years ago, and then run. Like that to me, I was like, I feel now like I'm in a French film. But because I couldn't understand.
Is it saying that his future is inevitable, or is it saying is this one of many possible outcomes?
Because he gets shot. He gets shot in the future and comes back to the past or whatever, comes back to present with the injury, right? With the with the injury to his leg. And the one that shoots him is the Tillerson boy, who, however, in this version of reality, in the present, is dead now. Because Royal shot him when they were like doing the car chase. So maybe this is not a future thing. Maybe this is like a multiverse thing.
An alternate reality that is a fun-off.
It's sliding doors on crack. Yeah, I don't know.
My brain is scrambled.
Times for me to really, hold it all in my consciousness at one time. The whole thing for me is one big crow epistemology. So I don't know. It's interesting, but and I want to see where things go, but it's not gripping me. I don't know why, folks. I get, for me, this is a thumb sideways.
Oh, is it?
The thumb side.
For me, it's a thumb's diagonal. It's not completely up. It's a diagonal. It's not the best thing I've seen since sliced bread. But it's definitely, and here's the thing, it's with a caveat, because I could very quickly hate it if they don't pay off the time travel, if they don't stay consistent with the rules of this universe.
Yes.
What are the rules?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know yet. Because, I mean, we know that he travels. So they need to pay off how he could get a gunshot and come back to the present time. They need to explain the Tillerson boy dying, Tillerson boy dying in the present, but still being alive in the future. They need to explain why Autumn is seemingly the one in charge. I mean, this felt very much like this. The world that he went to in that future felt very dystopian or Orwellian.
It is. It is. It's given over totally to that mechanistic, Tillerson thing where it's just about eking what you can out of the land. There's no respect for it. There's no respect for human life.
That's why the big mind is just driving into it and sucking everything out.
Yeah. And ironic that someone named Autumn River would be one of the heads of that kind of exploitation, because she comes off as, sort of a gypsy and a hippie.
Well, and she feels like she can control things. She feels like she can control, I don't know if she feels like she can control fate, but she feels, remember when he asked her in one of the first episodes, what do you feel when you see yellow? What does the color yellow mean to you? And she finally answers back and says power. And that's when we see later, then we see her in the yellow suit.
This is why when I looked at her, I could not see a young Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, she's definitely obsessed with power lust. What comes off at first is somebody who's a spiritual, possibly a prophet, then a schizophrenic, and then somebody who's schizophrenic, who's also lusting for power because she's
actually schizophrenic. Is that what the medication is for?
I think she's schizophrenic.
Because I thought she had like grand mal seizures.
I don't know. Oh, really? I don't know. Did the kid have seizures? Is that what happened?
I don't know. That was the other mystery part of it is
can't help but think that she's got either some kind of bipolar disorder or she's schizophrenic or presents as a schizophrenic. That's what I was assuming.
Okay, so she's taking a drug that treats epilepsy and bipolar disorder.
Okay, yeah, so that's what she is. Now combine that with a power lust, and you have a very dangerous person who's willing to kill their own father to get whatever it is they want. And that's sort of
he's the grandfather.
Yeah. So that's sort of the population of this cast. It's the Tillersons are money hungry, greedy jagoffs. She's apparently that as well, and caught in the grinder between these people are the other abbots, and I'm not sure how I feel about them yet.
How do you feel about the sheriff, Mark?
You know, nah, 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 nah. How do you feel about the sheriff? I'm not going to reveal my exact feelings about the sheriff, by the way, but I mean, I'm not enthusiastic.
I liked her story about being an Indian, and I liked that she was able to step back in time and see the tribe and running with the buffalo or bison or whatever
I
they
think they
were.
were bison, yeah.
But the woke story about her being a lesbian was just like, all right, let's just pile another woke characteristic on top of her. I don't think it was necessary. And them going to church and it being an issue, and her, I was like, I could have done without that. And they could have just stuck with the whole Indian issue and it would have been fine.
I think, yeah, I didn't mind, you know, I didn't mind which team she played for, but I do think that when they had the church scene, they took advantage of it a little bit. They could have found something else. If me as the writer, I would have turned that into something else that had nothing to do with her sexual preference. I would have turned it into, we don't like you because of this, because of this other thing. Because it's just such an easy target. It's just such an easy thing to exploit. And it's like a cheap sympathy factor.
Well,
and it's like, think of something better.
Well, they're exploiting all of that. They're exploiting her native origins, the fact that she's a woman and gay, to show that she's really sort of oppressed, and at the same time, very ambitious and wants to win the election for sheriff that's coming up soon. And in some respects has to placate the very people who don't respect her as a human being. And that puts it's an interesting sort of dilemma, but I mean, it's a little bit saturated, like I agree with, one intersectionality or two is fine. We get the idea. Yeah. She's hitting the glass ceiling, and she's hitting the glass ceiling with palpable nuts. I mean, the people that she talks to try to sway to her side as voters are out of their freaking minds. And they present, other aspects of the story that are mysteries to solve, the mysterious lights, the mastodon that is apparently running around the plains of Wyoming or in a cave somewhere. I'm sure all of that has to be paid off. You remember that guy, right? The nut, he's disappeared too.
Yeah. I guess they were mastodon. That's what she saw. Were the mastodon then running around in the plains?
No, she saw the bison.
She saw bison, not the mastodon. Okay.
Yeah. So that's an inexplicable moment as well. She goes looking for the guy who thinks there's mastodons in caves, who comes off like a complete nut. She goes wandering through the forest looking for him because he's not at home, and then stumbles into the 19th century Wyoming scene with natives in their teepees chasing, herds of a massive herd of bison. And I'm wondering how that happened. Well, we saw the bison exit the hole at one point in the thing, but how did the natives get there? How did all that happen? How did she get a glimpse into the past, into her own?
Yeah. Did she pass through a portal? We didn't see her pass through a portal.
See, these are all.
Are they there now in real time? Are they there present in present? Did somehow the older Native Americans come out in the same way that the bison did?
It seems that's the case, but I don't recall anybody going out and seeing them or visiting their village or even having any. I don't know, folks. I don't know. It's a puzzling piece to me, and I'm assuming that the puzzle is going to be sort of fun to solve, whatever it may be. But
it's one of those things where you're putting the pieces together in the puzzle. You're not yet sure what it's going to be, but you sure hope that at the end it's not going to be like some disgusting picture. Like, I hope that this turns into
rational and not ever make sense.
Yeah.
Which isn't
Yes.
that what happened to Lost?
Well, so they say. No, I like
The end of Lost was very confusing. And it was a big letdown to people. Because they were building up to such a great conclusion, and that most people just felt a bit cheated when they watched the end of Lost. Having nothing to do with the actors. It was the story.
Yeah, so this leaves me with nothing really to say. I don't know what to say about this. It didn't strike me in a way that that gives me a lot of grist for the mill. I'm sorry to say, and I'm hoping there's somebody out there in the super chats who might be able to add something to the conversation.
Do we have super chats? That's a good question.
We only have one super chat, and it has nothing to do with Outer Range, but I'm going to read it anyhow. From Ian for $10. Thank you, Ian. Would love to see you do The Expanse. If you decide to do it, at least the first 1.5 seasons, since that covers the first book. I love The Expanse. I don't know if it's something that Jennifer and Mark would be into, but I've seen The Expanse a couple times now, and I think it's brilliant. It's kind of the first real sort of futuristic, here's what space travel really looks like, and here's what you would have to go through, like with the G forces of going as fast as you're going, and you have to get like all these nutrients stuck in your body. It's a great mystery. It's this big, it's like if Firefly were 100,000% serious.
I like it because I didn't like the campiness of Firefly.
You didn't like the campiness of Firefly, but this is,
it's an 8.5 on IMDb, and you can watch it on Prime Video. It comes with Prime,
so we can put that on our list. We've got a few others that we have to do before then. But if Mark is into it, if you're into it, I'm happy to do it. I thought The Expanse was freaking brilliant. Really, really good. But I will say one of my favorite scenes in Outer Range was when what's his name, Tillerson, the dad Tillerson, when Wayne Tillerson, he comes back from seeing the hole for himself, right? He drags himself there. He's in his pajamas and his boots, and he's got his cowboy hat on, and he comes back and he opens up the doors, and some kind of celebration before he falls into a coma. But this was like Yosemite Sam. This guy reminded me so much of Yosemite Sam. And not just in this, in that particular scene, but just in general, like his demeanor. I think Will Patton deserves some good acting chops for this.
Yeah.
Will Patton, he's very interesting. He's suitably unhinged and strange, and not likable. Okay. Well, I don't know what else to say about this, folks. If you have anything else to say, fine. If not, maybe we should just call it a ball.
We've got two more super chats. I guess my call for super chats.
Yeah, bring in the super chats.
One from Kiana Pellegrino for $5. You should do the first 1 or 2 seasons of The 100. It's on Netflix. I've heard about The 100. I think I might have seen like the first couple of episodes. One from
The 100, because they were competition with the Tomorrow People, and they got us booted off the CW. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay, all right. I guess we can't do that.
No, the premise is very interesting.
5 pounds from Apollo Zeus. Any of yourselves know anything about the proposed Marvel Zombies movie?
What?
There is a proposed Marvel Zombies movie. Clearly, when Mark says what, that means no.
I know about that.
I didn't know. We did not know about that. We'll go look that up, Apollo. Interesting. Yeah, and Marvel is branching off into weird stuff. So is DC, actually. Anyhow, all right. Well, so if we don't have anything more to say on it, let me just ask you guys: were there any elements, cinematic, directorial, writing, set design, whatever, any elements of Outer Range that you thought were unique or interesting?
I mean, I thought it was shot extremely well. I loved the lighting and the cinematography. I thought the acting was, for the most part, very, very good. I loved watching Josh Brolin. I think he's an amazing actor. Imogen is a great actor. I think Lily Taylor is great. And, you know, the mystery is enough to keep me engaged. I want to see what the hell it all means, but I'm not, you know, I'm not passionate about it. I'm just interested. You know,
Yeah.
fire passionate. Some of the things we've seen make me passionate. I just can't stop talking about them for various reasons. But this, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Mark said, and I think when I think about what I like about it and what's unique and fun about it is the mystery. It's a puzzle to solve. Keeps me coming back for more. Wasn't crazy about the billboard and kind of on your nose, something about America, and
Oh yeah, getting that message over and over in your face was
very eye rolling. I don't know. I mean, other than that, it doesn't stand out as anything more unique than what we've seen, in my opinion, so far. Well, let's see how it pays off season 2.
Yeah, I agree. It's nothing. I mean, you know, it's nothing compared to Sherlock. It's nothing compared to, you know, my opinion, Firefly. But it's still it still wasn't like we've done some shows that we've all hated. You know, and
I
Clark,
enjoyed
right?
tuning in. Like, I enjoyed sitting down and turning it on.
Yeah, we none of us ever felt like, oh God, I have to watch this for TV talk.
I don't think I'm gonna make it, guys. There's been some shows that we've all had that conversation.
Yeah. No,
Enough.
this wasn't one of them, but it has to pay off. It has to pay off. If
Yeah.
it doesn't, I'm gonna have to you know, I don't know, paint. I don't
Strangle
know.
somebody.
I might have to strangle somebody.
What's the next show?
Wednesday.
I think we're gonna do Wednesday because you really like that one, Mark.
Yes.
How many episodes is it?
I think it's 10.
Okay.
I think. But very enjoyable. Thoroughly enjoyable.
Thanks also to Jan Nicolini for $3. A fist bump. Yay. All right, cool. Yes, we're gonna do Wednesday. When? That's the big question.
How about 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Hold
Can we do
on.
it February 17th?
Let's do it February 17th.
Yes, I can do, because I'm flying out on the 18th, so I should be able to do the 17th.
Okay, let's do it then.
You, Mark.
Huh?
What about you, Mark?
Yeah, let's do that.
Mark's already seen it, so
I'll read.
He's available on the 17th.
I enjoyed it. All right, guys. Well, shoot. I think that's about all we got for Outer Range. Don't necessarily listen to us. Check it out. You might like it better than us. You might have gotten more out of it than me. And I don't want to discourage you from seeing something that's potentially good for you, for crying out loud, especially if you're a sci-fi fan. I'm a sci-fi fan, horror fan. And so it satisfies on a certain level. So next time we'll be doing Wednesday, folks. So watch that. We'll have a lot to say about Wednesday. I'd be very interested in your guys' opinion about that. And so until February 17th, check your premises.
Like the show. Sure to like the show.
yeah, like, share, blah, blah, blah. I will say that I'm giving Wednesday a second chance because of you, Mark, because I couldn't get through the first episode. So I'm gonna, yeah. So I'm gonna give it a second chance.
All right, we'll talk about that. All right, folks. February 17th, see you with Wednesday, and until then, be safe. Peace.
Happy TV viewing.